Jennifer, are you there and ready to get started?
I am.
Alrighty, it looks like our Facebook live feed is not working, so we will just be doing it from here, and that is fine. So,
Okay.
Thank you for joining us today. Jennifer is a nurse with U of M in Ann Arbor, so we are very lucky to have her on with us today to talk a little bit about staying safe during these times. This session is being recorded and will be shared on our private Facebook page later on. If you have any questions, please throw them up in the chat or in the Q&A section, and we will get those addressed. Alrighty. So, Jennifer, first thing I have here, what our state association is recommending people do: wear gloves and hand sanitizer during showings, maintain the physical distance of 6 feet apart, space out showing so there's not back-to-back. Sellers are being recommended to clean and disinfect in between showings. Aside from that, is there anything you can recommend that realtors and their clients do to prepare themselves before showings and after showings to stop the spread of any kind of viruses?
So I would say from the realtor standpoint, I would say if you can, go in each house that you're going to be showing, if you can go in and kind of walk around, do a little bit of a walk around, see if there's really small spaces, kind of pay attention to, how close you're going to be with your clients. Maybe let them go into the room, you stay outside of the room. Also, to minimize the risk of people touching things, think about light switches. If you want to turn all the lights on in the house, so you're not thinking about flipping them on and off. A lot of people like to look in the bathroom. People want to look in the tub. So maybe have the shower curtain or the glass door open already. Same thing if people are going to be wanting to look into the closets, have all the doors open or closet doors open or open them for them. Just things like that. And then make sure that the seller is, properly sanitizing and wiping down things too. Railings, doorknobs, light switches, anything that they know that's going to be touched or that you can let them know that potentially is going to be touched. I would highly suggest that you encourage not only yourself as a realtor, but also the clients to wear masks, because that is your biggest way of spreading it. It's not as much about contacting, touching things, because you're going to be wearing gloves, but it is about, the spread, because it can spread very easily. I've seen it. And the problem is most of these people that do have it are not showing any symptoms. So even talking, even within 6 feet, if one person coughs, then you run the risk. Not only that, but then they're coughing all over the seller's, home, basically. So I would highly suggest that you encourage them to wear masks, because that's your biggest way of transmission.
I'm really glad you brought that up, masks. Can you talk about the proper way to use a mask, to put it on and to remove it, sanitizing it, so on and so forth, so
Sure.
that they are as effective as they should be?
Yep. So, you're either going to see clients come in with, a cloth mask, or, a lot of people will be wearing like your N95 or your painter's masks or medical masks like this. These masks cannot be cleaned. It's basically just a throwaway, or, these can be reused too, if you don't come in contact with anybody sick, or if you don't have a lot of masks at home, and I know they're in short supply a lot of places. So they can be reused as long as they're not soiled. If nobody, coughs on them, another person, or if they don't get degraded down, if the strap breaks, or if you see that, it's not holding. So the biggest thing is, when you put it around, you're going to put it on, and then you need to pull it underneath your chin, and then pull it up over your nose, and then you're going to want to really tighten it around the nose area. And then if you're wearing glasses, which I wear a lot, it's a pain in the butt, because every time you breathe, basically, it fogs up your glasses. So really push against the cheek area to not allow any of that air to come in. and then you're good to go. Same thing with the cloth masks. And then when you take it off, pull it off. You never want to touch, this area is the area that is technically considered the dirty area, at least for us when we're, working with patients. So you never want to pull a mask off by this area. You want to take it off, behind the ears, pull it off, and then it's good to go. Another thing is you want to take your gloves off first. Make sure that you remind clients of this, to remove the gloves first, dispose of them, then take your mask off, because your gloves are dirty. Your gloves are always going to be the dirty part, because you technically could be touching something, or and so remove them. And I would highly recommend that realtors either bring like a plastic bag, or have the seller have a bag available to throw all of that, we call it PPE, personal protective equipment, to throw away those gloves, so that they, so that the client doesn't take it back into their car and potentially infect themselves in the car, or leave anything in the car, because they say the virus can live on surfaces up to 5 days. So that's going to be a big thing too when your clients leave the house. Stainless steel, it says it can live on 2 to 3 days. Metal, 5 days. There's a bunch of different wood, and cardboard 24 hours. So that's a big thing for you guys too. If you arrive at a house, everybody's getting packages delivered, which is a big deal. Just because obviously we can't make it to the store. So if you go to a seller's house and you see a package, do not touch that package without gloves on if you want to move it inside, or wherever you're going to put it, because they say that the virus can live for 24 hours on cardboard. So think of that too. But yeah, so I would highly encourage them to wear masks. Honestly, if I were you, this is just me. I would not, if I was the buyer, I would not want somebody coming into my house right now without a mask on. And if I were you guys, I would not want to be in close proximity with somebody without a mask on, because like I said, if one cough and that's, you can be potentially infected, and these people might not even have symptoms. Sorry, I have to let my dog in, but I'm listening to you.
No worries. I totally understand that. My dogs are behaving now during this call, but hopefully the mail doesn't come early, or things could get wild.
Yeah. And I have a cat too, and so if she scurries across the screen, I apologize.
No worries. No worries. We're all real here, right?
Right.
So speaking of gloves as well, that's not something that people in this industry typically work with hardly at all. So could you give us some pointers, maybe what's the best time to put the gloves on? Should they be putting them on in their car before they go to the house, putting them on at the door before the lock boxes? And is there a right way to take them off to avoid spreading any kind of germs?
So yeah, I would highly suggest not only the realtors, but also clients, anybody going into the house. Everything should be put on prior to entering the home, prior to touching the doorknob, even to go into the house. And then, because then you're safe from everything. So, I've got a couple gloves right here, I can put them on. So, just put your gloves on prior to handling anything. And then when you're walking around the house, we tend to be very touchy-feely, which I didn't notice until all this happened. If you like something, you don't just point to it a lot of times, you actually physically touch it. So that's why wearing gloves are so important. So for realtors, I would suggest, everybody wearing gloves. And when you take them off, when you walk outside of the house, you basically just pull one side off, hold the dirty glove in your hand inside out, and then pull the other glove off. And then you're holding both of them on the inside, which is the clean part, and then placing them into a bag. I would ask maybe the seller if they could have their trash can available to place the PPE in, because you don't want to take that in your car either. So as long as it's in a plastic bag or something, the seller may not even care as long as it's in their trash can, but just to be, courteous, place it in the bag and then have that trash can accessible so that they can dispose of the PPE as well. But yeah, gloves the whole time. And then especially afterwards, you're going to want to clean with Lysol. and paper towel. You don't need bleach. I would not recommend using bleach because you don't want to A, get it on your clothes, or B, hurt anything within the house, or stain anything within the house, or ruin anything within the house. You can even ask the sellers if they're willing to provide this stuff. They may be willing to provide it. If not, you might be the one needing to provide it, like a box of gloves at each house, or the Lysol, or the paper towel. I know there might even be people who are willing to, use those booties. They may not want people putting traffic through their house. And that's another thing you need to think about. If people take their shoes off, they're going to be touching a lot of stuff to bend over to, put their shoes back on. So the issue is that if they go to put their shoes back on and they're still wearing their dirty gloves, then their shoes potentially could be infected. So you may even want people, since it's nicer outside, to take their shoes off outside of the house, if they're under a covered porch or something, or, remove them prior to. And yeah, I think that might be the best way. It's an odd request, but then you're minimizing the risk of spreading the virus or transmitting it once you leave the house.
Wonderful. Yeah, we have the booties for sale in our store, and they're going quick. So,
Good.
And not to state the obvious, but one pair of gloves per showing. You shouldn't be using the same pair of gloves throughout the whole day, correct?
No. Yeah, no. Put new gloves on, because you don't know you being the realtor, a lot of times, if you can, try to be the person to actually open the doors for people, or, turn the lights on for people. So you're going to be the one, you're just as dirty as if the client was touching things too. So after every showing, when you walk outside, when that client removes their PPE, you should be removing and disposing of your PPE as well. You can keep your mask though. You can save your mask. Unless somebody, like I said, physically coughs on it or something, that can be reused. We reuse our masks in the hospital as long as they're not, like I said, degraded or soiled.
And for people with cloth masks, is that something that they just stick in the washing machine?
Yep, you can put it in the washing machine. I mean, I would not suggest spraying it with Lysol, because if you're putting it back on your face, you're inhaling whatever chemicals are there. And I honestly don't know if just spraying will actually kill it. If that's all you have and you don't have a chance, the person doesn't have a chance, I mean, I guess they could spray it. I wouldn't suggest it, just because I don't know any of the logic behind it, and if it really even kills the virus just by spraying it. But yeah, just washing the cloth masks.
Great. And once the showing begins, aside from the 6 feet of physical distance and, gloves, masks, all that, is there anything else you suggest in terms of behavior from realtors or their clients?
I would tell the clients to make sure that they, you don't, I want them to stay the physical distance, the 6 feet apart, but a lot of times clients I know will probably want to wander off and kind of go look and explore on their own. I would make that a point when you first start and say, please, I know you want to go off, or if you see something, cool, if there's some weird amenity that they want to look at, I would suggest them staying with you and, going to each room and exploring together. I would honestly, even if the realtor wants to have a pad and a pen, a piece of paper, they could even jot down what the clients touch to know what to disinfect after each showing. They could just write down, bathroom light switch or doorknob. But like I said, if you go in ahead of time, turn all the lights on, open up all the doors that you think they're going to want to look in, then you're minimizing your workload, and you're minimizing the risk of spreading the virus and having to do all the decontamination later.
Great. And actually, in you saying that kind of made me think of my own behavior. So while people are going through homes, they probably shouldn't take out their cell phone and be on their phone at all during this showing, correct? Because they could potentially be contaminating their phone, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. If they don't touch anything, if they haven't touched anything and they want to use their phone, then that's okay. I know a lot of people want to take pictures or, do whatever. So that might be a little bit of a fight because people might want to, you know, look back when you go into a house and you're looking at it. You're not, I know when I was looking for homes, I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying close attention because maybe I was in a rush or, you know, I had other things in my mind, and we're all kind of thinking about other things right now. So if they want to take pictures, they can. Maybe then tell them they need to bring more pairs of gloves. So if they want to take their gloves off and, you know, have that bag available to throw away, you know, I know buying a house, you want to be able to see everything and look back at everything because it's a big purchase. So I would say try not to have them bring their phone out, but I know where they're coming from wanting to take pictures and everything. So if they don't touch anything, then yes, they can do it, or they need to bring multiple pairs of gloves and, you know, change their gloves up because they're optimizing or minimizing their risk by doing that.
When the showing is over, you mentioned that Lysol is a good cleaner. Just thinking in terms of how the house should be sanitized. Obviously, the areas that are touched are gonna need more attention. You know, handrails, switches, doorknobs,
countertops.
But aside from giving a good spray with Lysol, anything else you suggest for sanitizing?
I don't think so. I think those are the biggest things, is just wiping things down. And then if people are wearing their masks, then you're, again, minimizing your workload as well. If people are wearing their masks, they're not coughing on anything. They're not, you know, they're not potentially sitting over a counter and talking to you 6 feet away. And, you know, how many times have we accidentally spit when we talk? You know, there's a droplet right there landing on the countertop. And then these people are going to be coming back to their houses, and that can stay on that countertop for days at a time. So masks is just the biggest thing for me. It is 100% masks and gloves. So, you know, I just would really highly recommend that people wear their masks, and it will make your life a lot easier because, you know, if one of your team members goes down, you know, potentially 6 or all of them can go down if they all come in contact with each other. So
if you guys have any questions, this would be a good time to throw them up in the chat or in the Q&A now. I want to thank you personally, Jennifer, for everything that you do. Being a frontline worker, we really appreciate people like you and the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to add too, I would talk to your clients beforehand as well and ask them if they're feeling sick at all. Sorry, here comes my cat. Asking if they are feeling sick at all, or if they have been around anybody who has been sick, you know, and just kind of say, you know, we could always push this listing back. I know everybody wants to get to that house, but maybe they could have somebody else go for them. And then if that's the case, then you're coming in with the cell phone issue. So that's why, you know, I wouldn't tell people they can't use their phones. They just need to be more proactive and thinking about, you know, changing their gloves.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions come through, so you must have given us everything that we could possibly need to know. So thank you very much for your time, Jennifer. We really appreciate this. This session will be provided later on to you guys to refer back to, and I want to let you know we are having another roundtable Thursday morning at 9, all about virtual showings and open houses. You're going to hear from your fellow realtor members about what's working and what's not working. So stay tuned for that link on Thursday. Jennifer, thanks again, and everyone have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Stay well, everyone. Goodbye.
All right, bye.